Hello and welcome to this episode of Pixel Journey. This is another video in the 3-video series talking all about the Pikmin franchise. So since video 1 from the last episode covered 1 and 2 that came in the bundle for the Switch, this one will be following all about Pikmin 3. Originally released on the Wii U, it was re-released as Pikmin 3 Deluxe on the Switch, and that was how I first came to find out about the Pikmin franchise. So I got it because it looked cute. I wasn't really sure exactly what happened. I had no idea what the first 2 games were about, and my mom just happened to get it for me for Christmas because I think I'd mentioned something about Pikmin, and she probably just found it and goes, "Oh, this is good, it looks cute, I'll get it for her." And it actually sat collecting dust on my shelf for a while. I don't remember when exactly I got the game, but I do remember when I played it. And it was during the summer of last year, 2023, and I actually finally started playing it because all of the hype surrounding the upcoming Pikmin 4 was just everywhere I turned. It was all over YouTube, all over any social media I was on, and I'm just like, okay, I will play this game because Pikmin 4, it looks really good. You have a dog, you have all these Pikmin, the world looks beautiful, you get to explore indoors. Okay, I will finally take a step in and make the jump, dive into the game. And this was before 1 and 2 had even come out, so it was in between those 2 times. And I probably took about a week and just plowed through this. I was addicted. This is the perfect game to just kind of binge your way through, just have session after session. This is one that you just want to go back to because you get to control 3 different pilots. They've crash landed on this planet full of Pikmin, and they follow different clues left by some unknown source, and your goal is to collect fruit. Basically, by the end of the game, you are collecting a bunch of fruit, you're collecting other treasures, and you're trying to find 𝕬𝕬𝕜, the main pilot that you follow through Pikmin 1 and 2, who has apparently crashed again. People need to revoke his pilot license. And so the cool part about this game is Pikmin 1, you only had 1 pilot, 𝕬𝕬𝕜. In Pikmin 2, you had 2, you had 𝕬𝕬𝕜 and 𝐸𝑚. And now for Pikmin 3, you have 3. And I honestly can't remember their names aside from Brittany. So they might not have been as memorable, but I very much enjoyed the ability to have that many captains and lead my own group of Pikmin, because a feature that was introduced in Pikmin 3 that was not introduced on the original 2 was the follow me system, or go there, and I could put one of them on a path to a different part of the map while controlling or doing a task in a completely different map with a different pilot. So that really allowed you to just fully focus on optimizing your route, optimizing anything that you wanted to get done during the day, and it made me feel really good and really smart whenever I would do something and it would just work out really good and the times would sync up, and I just felt like I could get a lot more done in the day, even though I never felt rushed because there's fruit everywhere, so I never was worried about running out of fruit juice. So just like the others, you get to explore different areas and you will find the different Pikmin as you explore further. Of course, you have the original trio making a comeback, red, blue, and yellow, all with the same abilities that was seen in Pikmin 2. Nothing has been added or taken away, but they have taken away the special Pikmin that made their debut in Pikmin 2. You don't have the white Pikmin that is poisonous and immune to any kind of poisons in the world, and you don't have the purple Pikmin, the chonky boys that equate to essentially 10 Pikmin. Instead, they introduce rock Pikmin, which are sturdy little boys that you pluck up from the ground and chuck at any kind of glass ice barrier that you come across, and also they don't die. They just, if they're squished, get shoved back into the ground. You can repluck them. So I really liked that. I thought that that was creative. It made me feel a bit easier when taking those guys out, because if you watched my last video on Pikmin 1 and 2, I mentioned that I get really kind of anxious if I have just a few of the specialized Pikmin that I call them. because I can't make more of them. I get nervous that I'm going to lose them or not have enough to do some kind of puzzle in the future. So them not actually dying and me being able to save them. If they get squished, if they get eaten, they die like normal Pikmin. But if I'm going against something and they just get squished, it makes me less stressed. And then we get a Pikmin that is a fan favorite for a lot of my friends that play the Pikmin series, and that is the pink winged Pikmin. So these little guys are great. They're not very great at aerial combat. They should not be really used to fight giant monsters. But if you need something carried, these guys are the ones to go for. Because they're winged, they can obviously fly. Which means if you get enough of them, they can just carry your whatever, your fruit, your treasure, even Olimar. And just take it over any obstacles, water, anything, and it is so helpful. These little guys are very interesting picks. I didn't use them very frequently, but I did very much like them, especially in the areas that have a lot of water. I would just throw them. If there was, say, something on a lily pad, I would use them and then send them off. One thing that I was sad to see when getting into Pikmin 3, and this was honestly after I went and played Pikmin 2, was the lack of caves. Obviously, when I was first playing it, I hadn't played Pikmin 1 and 2, so I didn't know that caves were not a thing in Pikmin 2. That didn't carry over. But after playing Pikmin 2, I was really sad to see that they didn't carry over, that there was no kind of caves or anything. Like, the game itself is pretty in-depth. You've got your boss battles, you've got different, like, things that raise the stakes, like you've got that lovely juice thief that makes things more anxiety-driven. But there's no caves, and I guess that's okay because this game is a lot longer than, frankly, 1 and 2 combined because it's on the Wii U. But I just really would have loved having caves in there because caves just feel so unique. So one thing that they did add to this was the different battles, the bingo battles, and they were really fun. I actually spent a whole night playing with Amy, the co-host of the Nerd House podcast. We just spent an entire night playing the bingo battles and just going through all of the maps, and it was just really fun. The gameplay loop, it always feels fresh, and it's basically constantly just you trying to out Pikmin your opponent. And so that kind of leads me into the side mission stuff. And so there is side mission stuff that you unlock the further into the game you get, and that includes different trials. So one of them is, can you defeat all of the enemies in a given time limit? Those require so much brain power and me strategizing and basically me just gathering all of my Pikmin and throwing them at each enemy, or if they're smaller ones, throw like the needed ones. And I really had to figure out, okay, how many do I need? Because obviously, if you know Pikmin, you can make more Pikmin by either getting the pellets from the flowers and creating more, or taking the corpses of defeated enemies back to the onion and it gives you more. So I really had to figure out in those, how many Pikmin do I need until I can stop having them carry bodies back and just solely focus on defeating enemies. And some of these levels were super challenging, and I was like down to the last few seconds. But they really make you think, and it adds a level of challenge and difficulty that you don't really have in the more laid back, relaxed, I consider it cozy, game in the main storyline. Another one, if you don't want to just go around defeating enemies, is collecting all the treasure. And that is personally my favorite, is collecting all the treasure, because I feel like there's like such a strategy for like, okay, go here first, okay, now bring these, okay, this Pikmin is best for this type of treasure, oh, this place is best to send these types, and it feels more satisfying to me to finish those than the opponent battles, because sometimes I feel like the opponent battles is just somewhat leaning to RNG. So I do prefer those. Those are my personal favorite. But if you're ever wanting just that little touch of, I want to play some Pikmin but I don't want to play the story, or maybe you're done with the story, try dropping into the side content, because it's actually super fun. And I tried to platinum all of them, but there were some pesky ones that I couldn't. So the next topic that I personally can't really bring up, but Amy has told me enough about, is the co-op. So out of all 4 of the games, I think Pikmin 3 has the best co-op. So if this is something that you think you might want to play with a partner, I would say go for this. Go for Pikmin 3. Don't go for Pikmin 4, because I'll mention that in the Pikmin 4 video, but it's not as good as Pikmin 3. So go for Pikmin 3. Play it with a partner if you want. You basically get to control your own pilot and just go and explore, and you can really work together for it. So I think that's great. I personally play all my games solo because my boyfriend plays completely different games than I do, so I get just the solo aspects. So I personally just really like this game, especially seeing the improvements that was made from the GameCube games to here. The Pikmin AI is better. I complained in the first one that I ended up losing a lot of Pikmin because they would get caught on ledges, they would go and try and attack enemies that I didn't want them to, we were just walking by, or they would just simply be out of my range because they were moving too slow if they weren't bloomed. So that really helped me not to get super annoyed when I was playing this game, because they were never just looming anywhere. And plus, if I did happen to leave some, the introduction of the homing beacon and like the return home signal, godsend, best part of the game. I loved it. So overall, I would consider this game really fun, really cozy. The only part that had me frustrated and banging my head against a wall trying to figure out what I was doing wrong was the ending part. And obviously, as you go through, you're finding different bits of information from some unknown source that you later find out to be 𝕬𝕬𝕟, and you have to save him. How do you save him? You have to carry his unconscious body using Pikmin and try and dodge this gold goopy monster that is just trying to eat him. And so you have to go through this labyrinth of just different things, different obstacles, different enemies to get him safely back to your ship. That is your goal for like this final boss fight dungeon combination. And once I figured it out, it was fine. So I asked Amy, and I would love if any of you like drop it in the comments how you did this fight, because I'm genuinely curious on how people handled this fight. So they're following Brittany, the Pikmin that are carrying 𝕬𝕬𝕟. And so after just dying over and over, probably about 5 times, I was just like, oh my god, I can just send Brittany around the circle. And so I literally just had her keep going in a circle while the other 2 did all the work to clear the path, and then I would just have her follow them to the path. And that made this boss like route so much more bearable, so much more simplistic, because then you don't have to worry about fighting anything. You just go and do the puzzles, you build the bridges, you turn on the lights, you make the flowers bloom, and then Brittany just follows you after. I will say, the boss fight that happens at the very end, that was the hardest fight in the whole game. It totally deserves to be the final boss fight. Amy said she was down to like 1 captain, and she handed it off to her boyfriend and said good luck. I was down to, I believe, my last captain during my run, and I was just praying for my Pikmin to stay alive because I lost a bunch of Pikmin. And I think I actually ended up having to go to my ship to get enough Pikmin to bring all of the parts back, bring 𝕬𝕬𝕟 up to the ship, because I was down to like maybe like 2 or 3 Pikmin, like by the end of it. That is a boss fight. So this, I find, is like the perfect game if you want I consider it cozy. You might not, but I consider this a cozy game that is perfect if you don't want a stereotypical one of those farming sims, like a building thing. This is an optimize your route, strategy, real time, all those things that they use to describe the game on Google. If you just want a game to where you control a bunch of little guys and you collect things and you fight some things, this is perfect. Go relax on your couch with a nice fluffy blanket, have it on handheld, have it on your TV. Honestly, this is like a great game to play either way. A lot of games I will have like a bias towards I want to play it handheld or I want to play it on my TV. This honestly is fine both ways. But I highly recommend this game. It's a great game. if you just want to get into the Pikmin series without going back and playing any of the older games, I think this is a great one. If you want to play a Pikmin game with a partner, pick this one. Don't pick 4. I know it's newer, but this one has the best co-op. And that's basically all I have to say. The game is great. I think I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 star on Minimap. It was almost perfect, like, in my opinion. I think it was great. It literally got me into the Pikmin franchise, and now I love them. I literally played all 4 games because of this single game. And I think that should say enough to how much I love Pikmin. And actually, Amy, when she took her trip to Japan, got me a little Pikmin pin that is on this back wall that sadly you can't see because the camera's too far away, but I promise it's there. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up to say that you like it. If you like anything mentioned in this video, if you agree with my opinion, if you disagree, do you think I forgot something? Do you want to add something? Drop it down below. I love to read people's thoughts on stuff that I've taken in, so I would love to read anything that you guys have to add to the conversation about Pikmin 3. And if you like this content, drop by the channel, scroll through. We have a bunch of gaming related content on here. Maybe you'll find something else that you like. But until then, I do have one more video in the series covering Pikmin 4 that will come out in the next episode, so stay tuned for that if you like Pikmin, and that is about it. So everyone, have a good day, and thank you for watching.